welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. We are the Dadley Boyz of What Culture. I'm Adam Wilborn, joined by Michael Hamflett and Michael Sidgwick, here to review everything that happened on last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review AEW Dynamite, but also AEW Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. Pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup of the week complete with a very good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett and Sidgwick to review AEW Dynamite. Big business. And it certainly was big, Sidge.
It was completely undercut. The trifecta has been achieved.
I was going to go to you on that, but that's your phrase, and I thought it was very spot on.
The trifecta has been achieved. Long-time listeners will know what I'm talking about, but, I'll do a WWE thing and explain to the new ones what I mean by trifecta. Something like AEW Winter is Coming, or one of these glorified pay-per-view. That looks like a pay-per-view on TV. I mean, I enjoy them mostly when they're really good, but that to me isn't a great episodic wrestling TV show. An episodic wrestling TV show needs 3 key ingredients, the trifecta, right? You need great wrestling because the bell has to ring at some point, guys. Okay?
And we often mourn it, but it does.
Yes.
He's right, it does. It does.
The bell has to ring, so you need pretty great action on every show. I'm sorry, you just do, right? But the idea, because it's a television show, is it's meant to enhance your anticipation, your investment in the big destination matches on pay-per-view, which is a separate thing to follow. You do that with promos, and more importantly, and it's more difficult to do this, angles. Anyone can talk trash at each other. It's good when it's amazing when it's done right, but you need a bit of flavor. I want to be wowed by the direction of a character, how a character's reheated. I want to feel like distress on behalf of another character. Got that in abundance in one angle tonight. It hit the trifecta. And on the subject of trifectas, 3 things, right? If you take Chris Jericho out of AEW, okay, you get some goddamn fans in the other buildings that aren't in Boston, right? And you press the fast forward button on this world title picture, you've got a promotion that is goddamn all the way back.
Certainly was big, Wilborn. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Honestly, really enjoyed it. I don't think I'm quite as hyped as
Never is.
Never is. Not on a Thursday.
It's the worst.
Just Hamflett, the way you like it, the way you remember it. But lots of positives yet again. Repeating it every week with AEW at the moment, loads of positives. Still waiting. I think the Elite feel like that real emotional connection with an AEW that you remember. They're the act.
Way you remember.
The way you remember it. They're the act at the moment. They're the ones when they're on screen, the things they're doing, the stuff that they're building. That's the one where you're like, that's
the stuff.
This could be the show again.
Yeah.
But nothing really, Jericho's side, the new caveat. He's kind of the last guy to stop the show being good, actually. Jericho's side, nothing's really bad. Nothing at all is bad in AEW outside, I would say, of Chris Jericho at the moment. Good for them. Good for them. Just deal with that one thing.
Even in that vaunted, and I'm not overstating things, vaunted February 2020 period, you still had Kip Sabian versus Joey Janela.
Yeah.
Even in summer of 2021, you still had Matt Hardy and maybe a few other things, like the Frankie Kazarian's career just dying in front of us. You will never get a 10.0. You'll never get 7 stars. You will never get absolute perfection. It's as close as that you can get to that I'm after, and we're close to being that close.
SmackDown's got a carrying cross.
Yeah.
It's with Killers in the Jungle on at the end, there's still a carrying cross that comes before it. You just can never get everything.
You can never get it all.
Chris Jericho is currently AEW's. You can't have everything. You've got me.
Yeah. Well, let's get into it then, because obviously
washed as Kevin Kelly's brain.
Huge opening to big business, of course, and there was even a shot of someone showing up in a fancy car. We cut to the arena, and then Imperium's music hits. Mercedes Moné's CEO music hits, and the CEO chants ring out in the TD Garden. She's got the All Elite CEO hair. She comes through the babyface tunnel, of course. Gets down to the ring, gets a bit emotional, understandably, with that sort of reaction. Tells Boston she's home. Thanks the crowd for having her back for the past 2 years, giving her the courage to be here. They're going to be creating so many moments together because the fans are the reason she is here. If they only knew how much tonight and pro wrestling meant to her, it's changed her life. It saved her life. It's given her hope, a place to dream, and people like Eddie Guerrero, who quite rightly gets a chant after this, gave her the hope that one day she could wrestle too. Her dreams led to a women's revolution. They made her the first woman to main event a pay-per-view in this very building. She dropped out of school at 13 to take care of her brother. And then her dreams at 18 took her to chaotic wrestling, where her dream properly began. The dream to become the greatest women's wrestler ever. She wants us to know if she can do it, anyone can do it too. So let's get down to business. Why is Mercedes... I'll do it the short one just so we don't get done on YouTube.
Money.
In AEW. She needs to be here. She wants to be here. This is the only place where the revolution can be global. She's been watching everyone in the locker room. She can't wait to tear it up with them. She talks about Riho and Willow Nightingale in the main event of tonight. She obviously got unfinished business with Willow. But for now, Mercedes Moné is all elite, and they flash up the big graphic on the screen. And she thanks Tony Khan and asks the fans to say hello to their new CEO, and she takes off her jacket to Michael Hamflett revealed gold gear.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God, one of two, by the way, because the gear that she changed into for a second segment later on was good as well.
Yeah.
She's really good with the gear.
Yeah, just straight out with it, straight out the gate, Sidge.
Route 1, perfect for what it was, and what it was what it should have been. Really, in retrospect, you can do the matches later. You can do more significant grudge matches later. This was, we have a huge megastar in our company. Here she is. Enjoy her. Get ready for her. This had the all-important sense that the game had been changed in the women's division. Again, this is we talk about restore the feeling and all the rest of it and how much that phrase is starting to burn our ass. But, like, the idea is Mercedes Moné could be the one to do it. And it would be kind of promotional malpractice if they don't take it more seriously as a big-time main event concern after this presentation. They gave her the superstar entrance, and she embodied every single attribute of being a superstar. I thought the balance she struck here was quite incredible. She has that unbelievable A-list aesthetic. She looks like she comes from a world so cool, I personally could have no comprehension of it whatsoever. She looks complete red carpet, A-list, like an impossible human being for how much of a star she is. It's literally the only word. And yet she came across so likable in the promo. It was pretty much a Reader's Digest version of a career. I'll allow the exposition on this night. I wish she kind of talked a little bit more in depth about the roster, because I want to, at this point, fantasy book, I want to say you work such and such, such and such, such and such. But there was one that Hamflett and myself picked up on, which I'll let you take over imminently. She just came across as that weird. I don't understand how the two circles intersected, really, but this completely impossible, cool superstar and this really humble, likable person who's done these incredible things in her personal life to get to where she is, to earn this position, the sacrifices she's made, the obstacles she's had to overcome, and she was both at once. The best promos are the ones that you can believe the most, and without being this world-class delivery, realistically, you just couldn't help but think, she's going to change this entire game, and she's really good and really nice.
Yeah, like, I really enjoyed this, and I don't want to come across harsh on it, because I think in reality there was and I don't think we were particularly bigging this up yesterday, but it just, you want a fantasy book and you want to get excited for these things, and I think this shouldn't be the case, 5 years in, but to borrow a phrase from Sidgwick, there was a certain pressure on Mercedes Moné here, triggering another narrative big bang, but for the women's division, because they never had one of their own, and the pressure was on her to do that. And she didn't do that. But just because she didn't do that, this was far from some sort of failure. You know, it didn't feel like creatively explosive. You know, it didn't. There was the one I'm assuming we're both referring to was when she used the CEO to do CEO and like let that finger trail off and let you think for a second that, oh my God, yeah, the biggest star they've ever had in Britt Baker coming up against Mercedes Moné is a huge. It feels interpromotional, even though Mercedes Moné is now in AEW. Like that is one of the matches you want, and it
feels like a Forbidden Door match almost.
Well, it put me back to like, and this is like comparisons that were maybe unfairly drawn, but you know the promotion was similar. When CM Punk did his first dance, Darby Allin was name checked on the first night, so you had all of the backstory, all of the where have I been, what am I doing, and then straight onto, and I'm so in it, I'm going to book the match right now, and you get to be excited about what's come next. They held off on that a little bit.
You get it later.
There was a version of it in the main event. Her mentioning and name checking the match and saying it was in the main event felt like the biggest thing.
Yes,
because she's not an authority figure, but she's got a great deal of authority. Like you know that what she is doing has to matter, and that's in kayfabe and in reality. And her being able to just sort of announce to the crowd, this massive crowd, by the way, like an extra couple of thousand that came in yesterday, may or may not have been to do with when she tweeted the word Boston, which is kind of what we were looking for, wasn't it? The timeline where, what difference can she make? Felt like she made one in the end. All of that had the impact attached to it that I really liked. The rest was just nice. There was a take you had when I think Sidge was laughing at it, and I was a little bit deflated at it when CM Punk returned to WWE, and you had the take of, I'm talking about the Raw promo specifically, of there was a sort of he almost had to do this, and then we get on to business, and I felt there was an element of that here. I think you had to do that with the Mercedes Moné because she hasn't disappeared. She's been injured. We said this yesterday. She was at Wembley with her own AEW graphic. It was a different thing here. So doing this now before she mixes in, again, I wasn't like fizzling with the excitement, but I was really enjoying it all the same. She immediately feels like she belongs, and she's elevated the show, and everything felt loud, and the CEO chant felt, it's not the sort of thing that like AEW Star presentation, I don't know why it's really stuck with me, but really hammering the CEO chant does feel like a bit of a WWE thing, but a good one. Like borrow from them when they're really good at just drilling something into you. And this was drilled in when before she came out, people were chanting CEO for her to make the save. That never got over once in her New Japan Stardom run, ever. She was mocked for it a bit. It was it's like boss. Like they've instantly made it a chant. It's instantly like part of her act in a way that DMD is. And I don't know, as a wrestling fan, I'm predisposed to liking that. I think it does genuinely, like hand signals, catchphrases, like these things have been around forever because they help, and she's got them straight away.
We should mention before we move on as well, or before we get your thoughts anyway, Wilborn, that the theme's a total earworm.
Yeah.
It was another aspect of that New Japan Stardom presentation where it was weird. The jury was out, I think, on Mercedes Moné and that post-WWE run because some of the matches were really good. The look was just absolutely unbelievable, but it never really hit great. And some of the promos were wacky, to be generous on this great post-business, big business day.
The theme was wacky.
The theme was wacky. The theme was wacky. This is 10 times better. A total earworm. She is now... this theme, like in conjunction with her like unbelievable glowing star power, is going to ensure that she gets a booming ovation before the bell even rings. Like really inspired bit of business.
Huh?
Yeah, I think
business.
I think it's one of those things where, you know, you're going to struggle because people, as we did yesterday, are going to draw comparisons to CM Punk debuting in AEW. But I thought they pitched this perfectly in terms of it's not going to be that. It's not going to be 20 minutes, 30 minutes to start the show and potentially laying out. It would have been nice, but you got the Caesars and, like you say, you got more stuff later on. But, you know, have her...
never the promo Punk is.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
I mean? Doesn't have the same romantic story.
But she comes, you know, don't mess about. We all know what we're here for, along with the other stuff on the show, but do that. And then to top and tail the show with her, to have her out at the very end, I thought that you got the best of both worlds.
It's good WWE-style focus.
Yeah.
It just instantly felt like a big deal. It's one of the easiest tricks in the book is that you simply put someone on the show quite a few times to make them feel featured and worthy of your investment.
And that reminds me, by the way, you remember Matthew Ormsby, the lovely bloke who emailed us last week to, you know, talk about the relaunch of Dynamite and talk about the Monday Night Raw opening that you got. Well, Matthew was there.
Ah!
And he emailed us on his way home from Big Business in Boston. Thank you again, Matthew, for this. He wanted to just share a few things from his perspective in the building. The crowd was technically smaller than when Blood and Guts was there, according to Matthew, and according to WrestleTix, as he says. But having been to both shows, this one was far better. It might just be the nature of the Blood and Guts show format, but people were into almost everything tonight. Most stayed for Rampage this time. Mercedes, obviously the most over, followed by Ospreay, and then Eddie and Darby got a lot of love post-match after they went to commercial, he says. Jericho got heavy boos post-match when setting up the match with Hook next week. And Mercedes made a lap and took selfies with fans after they went off air as well. But a ringing endorsement of this show and getting the right crowd reaction. Obviously, opening with Mercedes is going to do that.
Yeah, they're in lockstep with their fans. The only issue is that there aren't enough of them in too many buildings. But the Canada dates look a bit more respectable, you know.
There was something put on next week's show to get some.
Oh Christ!
Get the butts in the seats next week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like that's the can't fault that.
There's an expression that it's a cliche. I'm searching for it. I can't find it. Something along the lines of images, everything, or whatever. But basically, if you see a month's worth of really good-looking TV crowds and a lot of healthy noise where you can't hear the echoes, it's so grim. Even when you're watching like a really
perception is reality.
Yes, that's it. Perception could be reality. Even if you get like a few shortcuts of money going to Canada for only the second time, perception could become reality, and it feels hot. People want to go to the hot thing, and who knows, they could build that audience. They really need to.
But I wouldn't say this show in Boston was a wicked pisser. And do you know why? Because I've got another email from another Matthew. Thank you to Matthew Lepardo, who's corrected us on our Boston accent, basically.
How dare he?
Apparently,
Do I need to try harder?
apparently,
try harder with that accent.
Apparently, saying "wicked pisser" makes you sound like you're in your 70s. Instead, we should say "wicked awesome."
Wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
So I'd say this show was wicked awesome.
This was wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome.
And also other tips from Matt. Thank you for this, Matt, who also sent us a picture of some business that says it's wicked easy to pay. From Mass Tax Connect.
They're wicked easy.
And
Fast.
He also says other tips are to use the term gay and kid for strangers. So, for example, you got to hop on the red line. I don't know. Head down to Park Street, kid, and then switch over to the green line. It's wicked awesome. So thanks to that.
That sounds wicked easy as well.
Wicked awesome, you guy.
Thank you to that. Thank you to Matt for that. Anyway, moving on. Samoa Joe is backstage with Renee Paquette. He said tonight feels like
money.
He hasn't forgotten the last time he and Wardlow were in the ring together. Debts need to be paid. Wardlow's overdue. It's the biggest mistake of Wardlow's career, and Joe just doesn't lose titles in the Garden.
That must be, I think that's a reference to basketball.
Is it? I was trying to.
It must have been. I inferred it. It's easy to infer things. Can someone let us know, actually, in case I've inferred it incorrectly?
I was trying to cycle through title wins in this building for WWE, and none jumped out at me.
That's because the lineages are completely ruined.
It's true.
And then it's
It's true.
quite literally time for start time and go bye. He's got a book.
It's a big
Bloody
call.
love
This is
books in AEW, don't they?
a big call, this, isn't it? Like,
Big call. I liked the idea behind it.
I thought that was the direction you were going to go with this, and just stop at that line right there.
there was Joe Law as well, because he had a big book once. Remember?
Yes, yes,
With AJ
yes,
Styles.
yes.
So
Yes.
Maybe he's put him in. Maybe he's got a book guy.
Yeah.
Not in the Boston way. Like he's got a guy that makes books for this situation.
but this one wasn't about a win to Styles.
It's a throwback.
Yeah.
Just.
This time, Adam Cole's reading a book as part of this Undisputed Kingdom vignette, saying, "Once upon a time, there was a man who was lied to. He was named Wardlow, and he was locked away by a truly evil man, a devil, you might say. He slayed many beasts and was decked in gold, but he needed to be surrounded by men who hated that evil man just as much as he did. A brotherhood bound by undisputed hatred. The warrior Wardlow is ready to fulfill his destiny, presenting the prize to its king." Him. With courage and purpose, Wardlow marched into war, fueled by his hatred of the evil man to slay the beast. And then we see over Cole's shoulder the final words and the drawing. The precious gold was captured. The prophecy fulfilled. The kingdom became whole.
That's the undisputed kingdom completely isn't it? They already have been geekified in the extreme. This wasn't good. But it was a good idea. I like the idea if you're going to do a world title match on your television show, do some kind of bespoke hype video. Don't just go to the ring.
Yes.
Present it like any other match. This was a total noble failure in terms of its effect on the match. Nothing. And in terms of its own artistic merit, lame. But I like that they did it.
Yeah, same.
I like the law in my head of, we have the WWE company who's like, we've got all these fresh tomatoes. I'm such an idiot. I've wasted all of our money, dear. Gling. I'll take all you got. We're going to do some people throwing rotten fruit, which is incredibly fresh angle for some backstage bollocks in WWE.
Who did they throw the tomatoes at?
The tomatoes hit Randy Orton. Well, they just bounced off him.
Who was doing it?
Is
it Damien Priest?
Like Riddle might have been involved in it.
Yeah, something like that.
Either way.
R-Truth, maybe.
Wacky, yeah.
There are very few foods I do not like.
Ooh.
Very few foods I do not like. One, I will have tomato ketchup. I will have a nice marinara sauce. I will have, like, the sauce that you make patatas bravas with. If you cook down a tomato, we are cooking. A fresh tomato with that disgusting pulp. I find it abhorrent to my taste buds. And yet, when WWE decide to use rotten tomatoes as a prop, it's the one time I want to eat them.
Well, like cartoon food, they were
They look like so opposite of rotten.
Yes. What's your standing then on a cooked tomato on a full English?
Disgusting.
See,
you need to really cook it down, liquefy it, if anything.
I'm with you on everything except for the raw tomato. Hate a cooked tomato on a full English. Love all the other stuff, the marinara, etc. But yeah, raw tomato. Get it down my neck. Thoughts?
I'll have every tomato apart from ketchup. Every kind. I don't care. Just can't have ketchup. That's the one. But like every other one you described, like the little baby tomatoes.
Every which way but ketchup.
That's right.
Do you put in your burger? I know we've had this conversation.
Just cheese.
Just cheese. Just cheese. And then sometimes just the meat. But like typically cheese. You're just a meat and bread guy, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Just
Meat
meat
cheese?
Just meat
Oh, no. I'll have like a mayo or a burger sauce or something like that. But like a pork bap where they're like, do you want some stuffing with it or some applesauce with it? Just give me the meat and the bread. Thank you very much.
I'll lettuce on
The looks we got in Texas.
No barbecue on the brisket. No barbecue sauce on brisket.
Leave the
I was
barbecue
so
sauce.
relieved when you were in that boat as well. I was
Get
like,
that away from the meat. Just have that delicious brisket. Thank you very much.
I'm old and I am tired, and I literally work with children.
I'll have lettuce and tomato on a burger. I would not necessarily choose it, but I can have it.
That
Just
meat looks delicious. Does it come in the shape of a dinosaur, please?
Oh, yes.
Right, we've talk about the show, the wrestling show.
Take your dinosaurs to tea tonight. I hadn't thought about that, but I am going via the supermarket when I leave.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
World title match we need to talk
as well,
about.
so you
Yeah.
have to buy them and eat them straight away. Night one purchase.
It's Samoa Joe versus Wardlow for the AEW World title. I got a bit distracted. Apologies.
I did as well. It's my fault.
Wardlow attacks straight away at the bell, and they go to the outside, and Joe gets slammed into the barricade, and Wardlow rips up a "Joe's gonna kill you" sign. Heads into the ring, but Joe is fired up, and he nails him with punches, but he gets hit with a corner enseguri. Taz, I like the line that you said. Joe's head is the size of a small farmhouse. Wardlow fights out the corner and hits sort of basically a whisper in the wind to take us to commercial. When we come back, Joe's trying for the muscle buster. Wardlow slips out of it, but oh no, he's tweaked his knee or his ankle or something. But it's a ruse, and he just gouges the eyes of Samoa Joe. He gets Joe on the top rope and does that drop down, big knee in the corner. 1, 2. Joe kicks out. The first person to kick out of that, I think they said as well on commentary.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Just in case he wasn't dead enough already.
Oh, he's dead. But
Yeah.
Wardlow tries to follow up with a swanton, but Joe moves, and John does as
No,
well.
John. Yeah. Why is that funny?
It's not anywhere near as intimidating, is it? Joe goes to the corner with some punches. Wardlow powerbombs his way out, but as he goes to the big finish powerbomb. Joe sweeps out his legs, puts him in the coquina clutch. Wardlow's reaching, but he just can't get to the ropes, and he crumbles back and passes out. Samoa Joe retains. We'll talk about the post-match in a second.
Handily as well. I couldn't tell whether this was actively bad or just really, really, really mediocre, or whether it was all right, but just completely in the shadow of the super roster.
A lot of people have said, sorry to interrupt, the comments I've seen online, it's fine, just a bit basic.
Incredibly basic.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the drama or the atmosphere of a world title match.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good was never good enough in AEW. It's borderline unacceptable at this point.
Well, that's not the G word they prefer, is it?
That's great. The thing about this match is there's one or two good ideas. I liked Wardlow trying to nope the noper, if that makes any sense, when he tried to outwit Joe, lull him into the nope spot. Clever stuff. The feigned knee injury, no one bought it. It might have worked. No one bought it. I think he maybe telegraphed the life out of that one. So it's the odd, decent idea, even if they didn't really materialize in execution. This was just so bland. This was so bland. Not a lot of heat. Not a lot of action. Almost the antithesis of that Undertaker-Batista comparison we drew yesterday. That should have been the aim here. A heavyweight prize fight between two big bastards just trading bombs at this escalating, violent rate. Nothing. They've never had chemistry. Such a weird choice to do this, as we mentioned. This is everything I knew it was going to be, and I didn't have any kind of expectation for it. Really, decisive, anticlimactic. Wardlow's kind of done if he wasn't done already. Something else I wanted to say. Yeah. Before I get to Wardlow's future prospects, I mean, spoiler alert, they don't look good. Even at the start, it's all right to do basic if you can do it really, really stunningly well. Like Cody Rhodes doesn't do anything futuristic. He's never once been on the cutting edge. He's never been state of the art. He's just got the fire, the intensity, that all-important sense of pacing. I don't demand absolutely exquisite artistry. In fact, if you can do the basics really well, I find that more impressive. Even these moments when Wardlow's tossing Joe around the ring and putting him into the barricades, it just looked so soft. Like he was... It just felt like that, right? This is the obligatory bit before we get into the ring. Didn't feel like he was trying to kill Joe or trying to, really hurt him out there. It was like these really softly, right? You're going into the barricade now, going into the steps. There was just nothing behind it. No meat behind it whatsoever. No intensity, no sense of violence, no sense of peril. This is just, honestly, a nothing match. And with Wardlow, I just continue to say the same thing I said on the review. Maybe WWE, which is nowhere near got the emphasis on, and I hate the term, but everyone knows what I mean by it, so I will use it, work rate, right? Maybe his aura can be rebuilt there with their production values, the way they promote, the way that they hone in on invest, which Wardlow arguably has never really had. Maybe his style, his look. That was the thing. He was a WWE guy in an AEW ring, and at the time it just felt really refreshing. He had a different tenor to the program. He maybe needs to go there. And I was thinking back on the G1 thing, and it's like, the G1 isn't even the G1 anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not as if he's going in there with Prime Ishii, Okada, like these great workhorses and megastars alike. There's no one really to test his mettle with in the G1 anymore.
In Block 3.
You know what I mean? So it's
like
that's a myth now. Maybe he needs to go to WWE, and that's a good thing. That's why AEW... It's not why AEW exists, but it's a great byproduct of it existing, is that you can jump, you can refresh yourself. I would be stunned if Wardlow gets over to that level. The aura's gone. He doesn't have the craftsmanship required to do a world title match, and I think that's been laid bare for as long as he was promising at this point. It gives me no pleasure to say any of this, but his future lies in WWE. He doesn't have one in AEW after this.
Yeah, the viewing experience is a subjective one, but I just kept going back to how sad this felt.
It was sad,
a number of different reasons. It was sad watching a crowd mega hot for their returning hometown hero go ice cold for a world title match. And you have to, you don't lay all the blame at Wardlow's feet. It, of course, goes to the
booking problem as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's a bit of both.
The booking of Wardlow right now, the booking of the belt, the kind of realistic status of Joe as the world champion. We talked about the whole title scene being a little bit mid-card at the moment. And, as an audience, you're almost instructed a little bit to cool down a bit if you've had something really hot at the start. And then the world title match being a cool down match kind of is a red X against both of them realistically. And that's the position they've been put in by the way that everything's been booked around this. The anti-chemistry between the two of these wasn't going to pick that atmosphere back up. So then you know that they're both wading through treacle out there and they're never going to get this reaction. I was thinking, so yesterday after I wasn't necessarily pitching for Wardlow to win. I just thought, well, maybe he could. And it's just a total shockwave moment. And how do you get there?
Yes.
The example I used was Big Bill and Ricky Starks winning the tag belts. Every bit of that match just felt like a transgression. What the frig is happening here? They're having FTR's life. Oh my God, they've won the belts. They could have started this match like that, even if Joe was winning. They could have created this sense of, are we watching an earthquake here? Let's say Wardlow just instantly hits him with a version of the Powerbomb Symphony, but just doesn't want to finish him, and Joe's beat, and you've got a referee. I don't know, but take a different tone from the very beginning.
The way it can't be the same match, but the way you took on MJF, and you were like, "Oh, this is done.
This is a squash," because Wardlow's a monster,
yeah.
And that was on us maybe for not taking him as seriously as we should have done. And even if Joe wins at the end, all you've done then is put over, you know what, I should respect Joe more, even in the twilight of his career as a fighting champion, because he's still got stuff to do. And Wardlow's been beaten, and we have all these same things of, this is finished, he's done. But they didn't even do that. They just settled in to a rank and file mid-card match in a mid-card position for a title that is feeling a little bit mid-card. And it was just, there was no getting out of it. There was no escape from it for you as a viewer and the wrestlers themselves. Joe fixed himself. As soon as the bell rang and the match was over, Joe fixed himself and went back to being cool. And I think that there's something that Samoa Joe did on this broadcast, I'm sure you're about to recap, that was instantly more memorable than a single thing that happened in the match. And you just
I popped my tits off. I forgot to bloody mention it in ups and downs.
It was so good. And then you're just there he is, there's Samoa Joe. Thank goodness he's done with this so we can get to a Swerve program. And if the coolest version of Joe's going to fight Swerve, great. I couldn't not feel sad for Wardlow. And then to go back to the Adam Cole thing, I also admire trying stuff like that, because when it works and when it hits, it's fantastic. So I would rather you have a litany of failures. I've watched WWE for long enough. A litany of failures for the one time it hits. If he wins, the story's all right. Right now, Adam Cole should be invoicing for going to the trouble of getting a big book made. Cost me a few quid this, mate, and you've just gone and lost.
Yeah.
Made me look a fool. You made us look like idiots again. The Undisputed Kingdom is such a sad deal. Really?
Sorry, bookstore, sorry. Just like we told Powerhouse Hobbs, no refunds.
No refunds. Sad. Wardlow stuff is pretty sad.
So Joe wins, and then immediately Swerve Strickland comes out. He's surrounded by security, but he's got a chain in his hand, and he just lays them all out, pushes them over, drops every single one of them, goes after Joe, but Joe sneaks out of the ring before Swerve can get his hands on him, and sort of walking back up the ramp. He's got the world title. He's smirking, and then glances, and one of the guys who's been laid out is just laying there on the ramp, and he just kicks him off.
There was a bit, and you probably have the recall, where myself and an old friend from school would watch WWF together sometimes, and we all loved it. The friendship group loved it. It was on Heat, where Michael Cole took this bump. We're talking 1998, 1999. And the way they filmed it was Michael Cole takes this bump, someone chins him for some reason, and it's pretty much hard cam view, and he rolls out of the ring on the other side, and he just falls off like a turd.
I think it's when Steve Austin bullies him.
Is it like that? And he just rolls.
Yeah,
he just rolls
he's
off.
so little as
he
well.
Just rolled off like a turd.
Got his shirt torn away.
You're a little turd. Just a turd, like Buster Bluth.
I love the one when Kevin Owens punches Alex Riley as he's walking past. He just lays a dig in on him, as he's leaving. I think he's running away from Joe in NXT, and Alex Riley's beaten down from the match, and he's like, "Oh, I've got to get out. I'll still have one on you."
Was it we used to say that Cole going into oblivion. That's how we called it, because he just went no way. The Void in this poor security guard. What a sack. What a turd. Loved this. So funny.
Hot again, by the way. Swerve comes out, all of this. It's hot again. It's
hotter.
We're back.
Yeah.
Aye.
Then
Well, look at maybe a tag team. Maybe all hope isn't lost yet.
I'd rather him go to the Fed.
I mean, I'd much rather him go to the
it's
Fed.
Characters in places when they kind of just feel like there's nothing more you can do.
Yeah. That's
Maybe puts over MJF and
like,
that's a nice bow on all of that as well.
there's 104 episodes of AEW TV, not including Rampage. It doesn't
I
count.
thought you were
yet.
going to name the roster there. I was like, there's 50,
Yeah.
there's 104 wrestlers.
Like, this idea of the 5-year contract in North American episodic TV wrestling doesn't work. Like, the Dolph Ziggler career doesn't work.
Yeah.
It should be the norm to say, all right, get yourself a different payday elsewhere. Go and refresh yourself. It's just a weird way to approach it now, I think, because we've lived through post-territory wrestling for, like, well, pretty much my entire life.
If it's always him, but if it was Cody going back to AEW, having done everything he's done in WWE, that would be proof of concept, wouldn't it?
No.
I can be the biggest guy there, cooling a little bit, become a ginormous guy there, and now AEW gets a ginormous guy back, and we all go again. Like, there's the model.
This is how
That's
it should bloody work, man.
So earlier on in the day, we see Alex Marvez trying to get a word with the Elite, Kazuchika Okada and the Young Bucks, and he asks Okada why he joined the Elite, and Nicholas scolds him for not calling him by his full name or his real name.
On his passport.
The Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada.
Look, the best gags make you conjure a mental image.
Yeah.
Now I've just seen the Rainmaker, Okada's face, like the New Japan press shot in the bit where the passport is. And then under the name, all caps, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada.
Doing his Esther, the
Yeah.
Rainmaker.
Matthew says they're the 3 best athletes in the world, a friendship that's gone on for 14 years. And he bets Okada can give 14 million other reasons why they're such good friends as well. Like that line.
Great, man.
Anyway, Okada tells Penta, Pac, and Kingston, who are obviously just about to face, that he's coming for them, and then tells Marvez to tell Matthew happy birthday. No, in fact, sing it. And he does to take us to break.
Such a nasty arsehole bully move.
Yeah.
And I pissed myself laughing.
Okada did that really nasty, horrible stare right at the end of the sing it. Close on my head off.
Yeah.
He really could.
Kazuchika Okada's the best.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for Marvez. It's like, we've got 12 interviews backstage tonight. Renee, you'll do 11. And Alex, you do the one that you get humiliated in. Thanks very much, mate.
They're mates. Totally
Yeah.
gone on.
Yeah.
That's why he's got.
So it's
No way.
It's time. It's time for the Elites versus Pac, Penta, and Eddie Kingston. Kingston and Okada start us off. Well, I say start us off. Okada goes, no, I'm all right, thanks.
The subversion from the collision.
The timing of the coin entrance is even better. This
Yeah,
week as
yeah.
well.
They got the
Nailed
timing
it.
of the coin and the subversion of him just wanting Kingston when he'd been beaten up. And how do you interpret that? Is there a little bit of respect there? Or do you just want to beat someone when they're down because he's that much of a prick? Love it.
Matthew comes in, offers a fist bump to Eddie Kingston. Gets chopped, obviously. Pat gets in there. It's Pat and Mac.
Mark Jackson.
Pat and Mac Jackson.
Pac Matafee.
Pac and Matt Jackson.
Matthew Jackson.
Sorry, yes. Go back and forth.
Matthew Jackson.
Pac hits a snap hurricane runner and a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Nicholas comes in, but hits Penta with a cutter, but then Penta comes back with a corner super kick and a spinning fireman's carry slam for 2. Pac and Penta double team the Young Bucks. Super kicks, top rope double stomp on Matthew. Okada and Kingston have another face-off. This time they get chops and forearms back and forth. And Okada's drop kick. I mean,
oh my God.
not exactly a hot, fresh take, but yeah, that's something that gains control as we go into break, basically.
Here it has compared it to.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah, what did he say?
Hardcore.
Oh, God,
yes.
yeah.
Excalibur. Ugh.
Yeah.
Didn't even like his name being mentioned on TV, did he? Proper little moment of, like, in the break, Taz, respect the business.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up much with Taz, but.
When we come back, Kingston hits Matthew with an exploder suplex, but as he tries to get the tag out, Nicholas and Okada get rid of Penta and Pac in the corner. And then Okada jumps up on the apron and goes, "Don't tag me." Matthew hits Kingston with a lariat as a result of this distraction. Poses with Okada. Then we get the Penta hot tag. He comes in, sling blades and DDTs for everybody. Okada avoids a backstabber, so Pac flies in with a shotgun drop kick, and then he and Penta hit stereo dives onto the Young Bucks. Penta hits a double stomp off the top. Pac hits a 450 splash. That gets a 2 count.
Looked amazing.
Pac hits
I just want to say that looks. I probably won't talk about that in my analysis. It looked amazing.
Pac hit that awesome snap, bounce back German. Not talking to you, love. Kingston comes in, hits Okada with chops, but Okada dodged a back fist, countered into a DDT. Pac flies in with an enziguri. Matthew comes in and takes out Pac with a Casadora face buster. Penta hits a Canadian destroyer. Nicholas hits a super kick on Penta, takes off his belt to whip him, but Kingston takes out Nicholas. Matthew takes the ref. Nicholas kicks him square in the bollocks, and Okada hits the Rainmaker on Eddie Kingston, pins him 1, 2, 3. And there's a long look at the Continental Crown. Continental Championship.
We're not sure.
Championship, no, because he doesn't want. Well, it's only for one of the belts
Yes.
for potentially hilarious political reasons.
Because he doesn't want the New Japan Strong title.
Well, I don't think he does.
No. But then he gets 3. And then he looks cool draped in gold. He's a bit of a belt collector.
Well, less is more. You'll never get this as a Fed fan, but less is in fact more.
Apologise for enjoying Kenny Omega's 2021 run, Sid. I'll talk you through it one time.
In terms of the match itself,
Oh my God.
I couldn't have loved this more.
Also,
When I get the feeling with AEW,
It's been canonised. We joked about this, about when they did a t-shirt, and it was like, I'll have that, bruv.
I like that, bruv. This is kind of what I talk about, and I make these kind of preposterous claims because I enjoyed so much, and people go, "You reach 'em, bro." Here's a take for you. In that vein, the Young Bucks have been doing methodical stuff for a while, and this didn't explode into the party match until deep in the finish, and you could argue that finish was better as a result. One bit in particular.
Oh my God.
The Young Bucks have gone corporate. The Young Bucks are talking now about insuring their investment, Kazuchika Okada, for millions of dollars, but that doesn't cover the post-match. Are the Young Bucks, by going a bit methodical and a bit deliberate, and they're doing this composite authority figure bit where there's a Tony Khan element. Great. There's Triple H.
I almost cried. I love that.
And there's like other bits.
Yeah.
Right? Are they doing a methodical thing, not just to make the finishes be even better in a Young Bucks match? They're kind of wrestling, in my opinion, on this metal level as if they'd signed the WWE deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can
Like
see
they're
that,
taking it back a little bit. They're going a bit corporate.
Slow it down, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of that there.
Yeah.
They're doing it on purpose for a reason. I think that might be the reason. So the match is quite slow as a result and steady. Hopefully, probably thinks it's the best Young Bucks match of all time.
It's up there, like.
This is genuinely just
It was
class,
so
though.
good.
It was so good.
I'm glad you've given me a Fed-based reason, because I did love it. It's like, oh, that's why, thanks, Sid.
And I just thought it was really, really measured, really, really well. So the Young Bucks are fantastic. The fist bumps, just class. Like total dickheads. Okada's face, I'm in love with him. Just, it's mint being in love with a wrestler. And I'm in love with Kazuchika Okada. It's fantastic. There's a bit as well where he's not just some schlub taking moves with a Z in a trios match that just has this energy to it. Because he's Kazuchika Okada. He's really good at portraying himself like a master craftsman, because he is, in fact, a master craftsman. Even just a little thing like, I'm going to hold on. I'm not going to take the backbreaker. I want to take a move. I'm Okada. Like, I'm a defensive mastermind and all the rest of it. Just these tiny little, take every single opportunity to show you. Kazuchika Okada's the best, by the way. And I just get it every single time he's on camera. This is a masterpiece of a presentation. There are people I follow on X. Some of them are really contrarian. And even they're like, I love the Elite. This is the most I've ever loved the Elite. Like, this is the best version of the Elite. And it's hyperbole and recency bias, but they are so undeniably great at this point, the Young Bucks, that their detractors are like balls deep with this. It's absolutely fantastic. Another thing I wanted to point out is they do a deliberate, methodical style. I don't know if that's why they're going for it. That's just my interpretation. But you still get that frisson at the end. that unbelievable exchange of moves. And it feels fresh again because they are making you come up for it. There's a bit where Penta gives Matthew Jackson the Destroyer, and the second that move happens, bang! Nicholas Jackson just kicks Penta in the face. The positioning and the timing, I shrieked when I saw that kick. Just this is absolutely fantastic. Talk now, otherwise I'll do it for the rest of the time.
It's like, honestly, I know you wouldn't think it in considering the job we do. It's great being wrong. It's great being wrong, right? And in the case of the Elite, everybody's wrong.
Yes.
And that's nice. That brings everybody together an extra change. Nobody gets to be right. There are those of us that thought, you know what, I just want to see him in the Fed. I think there is just more to offer Kazuchika Okada earnestly, somehow, in World Wrestling Entertainment in 2024. Was wrong, right? Then there will be people.
Everyone was wrong about Okada.
This is it,
There was
right?
not this huge Okada's coming in.
Yeah,
there wasn't. Even though he's Okada, there
Yes.
just wasn't that feeling.
Anybody that was like that would say, it's got to be AEW. Like, yeah, this, like, they would have some sort of, like, I don't know, like, pious thing with WWE, and
It's
it's
the
like,
lesser of evils all along.
yeah, he's New Japan. It's like he's just closer to AEW in style and all that. They wouldn't have predicted it'd be this one.
No.
So they would have been wrong too.
Yeah, they'd have been like, he can have some amazing matches with Ospreay, and when Omega comes back, that'll be good as well. And
They were
we'll
kind
do
of
some other stuff in between weeks.
Yeah.
they were pitching the version that made you think the Fed's better, because it's like, I don't want to see his 40-minute New Japan formula squashed for TV against wrestlers that are just not as good as him, but just won't like bring the best out of him either. So like the version they were pitching hasn't happened either.
Yeah.
We've got this one that is all theirs, that is the one that has wrong-footed all of us. The thing we used to talk about when we were at our most in love with AEW was this could be a good idea, and then they show you something even better, and they're like, this is like the best version of it, and you're getting it every week. And I think that's why, to Sidge's point, a bunch of people have never been able to
Sanction,
yeah.
stomach.
Which is weird considering like AEW's existence, but
I love the Bucks and Kenny Omega as much, if not more than anybody else. I can see why people don't like them. I really can.
I just think like their run has had. I think they're like, to use Cody's words, I guess, like undeniable. Their peaks have been that you can't deny. You might like one period of their career and one period only, but that'll have been so good that you'll have to accept. They've got that in them.
Some people are thinking they're doing it now.
Again, I suppose fair enough, but they've got there in the end, I guess, and haven't they? They've found every last fan that didn't at least appreciate something about them. Now they can, and it's going to be laid bare.
This is undeniably great.
And this as well, like, this is where, like, mine and Sidgwick's taste probably intersect perfectly, because my whole deal is a bit of a gimmick with matches, but my whole deal is I do just want to like the wrestlers first and foremost. I want to like the wrestlers before I like the matches, because then when I like the wrestlers, I'm going to like the matches. This is where it's perfected with the Elite, because when they're on a one with their character work, and when they're just making you care so much about what they're doing that you're going to go watch the digital exclusive, it's how being the Elite worked.
Yes.
I will wait a week for a YouTube show to then buy a pay-per-view off the back of that YouTube show. It's how all of this happened. Like, when they're locked in like that, it's perfect, because the matches are always there. Like, there were, you know, if you went back and watched the friggin' the Golden Jets versus the Young Bucks, I bet it's not bad, but I couldn't have given a toss about all four of them. Like, and that became the problem with the Elite. Ultimately, we're right back where we should be, because of course they can give you the matches. Of course Okada can give you the matches, but it was always going to be about the rollout of the character. And to see them up against, like, Penta's a bit of an extra here a little bit, but that's only because, like, you've seen it all with the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. You don't really need to see it with Okada and Penta. Pac and Okada being brand new, Kingston Okada being
Dynasty could be unbelievable show.
that being brand new, and
Again.
Kingston Okada being right now.
Yeah.
As well, it's like, there it is. It's next week. You
It's
get it.
Rainmaker shock stuff, innit? They are basically showing you and telling you, but mostly showing you he's a big goddamn deal and he's going to win gold like that.
That's what makes this match. That's what gets me off my high horse about not really liking trios action that much. It's just because this gimmick, this story, the whole deal.
Yeah.
Trios action's good.
It's good to go. The action was very hot, and I don't mind a bit of that.
And yeah, there's a title match between Kingston and Okada set for next week, as well as, and this followed the match, the I Quit match between Christian Cage and Adam Copeland's great video package to set that up here. And then Tony Schiavone welcomes Will Ospreay to the ring. He got a great reaction in Boston. He said his match with Bryan Danielson at AEW Dynasty means so much to him. Danielson is a person he wanted to emulate his career after, and he's glad Danielson's a fan of his work. And Danielson saying he's seen Ospreay saying he's the best in the world in Japan, so prove it in America. Danielson once upon a time said to Will Ospreay, was it worth it after his war with Kenny Omega and dropping him on his head with the Tiger Driver 91? Standing here today, Ospreay says, yeah, bruv, it was worth it.
Yanks love bruv, don't they?
Yeah, they love bruv.
They love bruv.
He was thrilled by it as well.
Yeah.
This match with Danielson means a lot more to him. There's a phrase that's been following him, a phrase that everyone's been talking about, restore the feeling. Well, Ospreay is the feeling, bruv. This match will remind people why AEW has the best wrestling in the world. It's the best wrestlers of the 21st century going at it, and only one man can walk out the winner. The one thing Ospreay has learned from Danielson is that despite any respect he might have for his opponent, it is all on the line once that bell rings, and Ospreay doesn't plan on dying. His name is Will Ospreay, and he is on another level.
Oh, it's just absolutely incredible stuff from Will Ospreay here. Like, he's got the Nick voice, right? Me and Hamlet have got this weird thing about British wrestling where it's not American, so
Yeah, it's not as good.
it's not as good.
Oh, you're watching Vince McMahon.
Yeah, but it's got this weird thing about it, right? And Ospreay has had genuinely terrible form with promos. And I don't necessarily think, right, I think the rap on Ospreay by idiots doesn't sell too many flips. It's like he hasn't been that wrestler this decade and probably years before that anyway, right? And people also argue, well, he hasn't been that kind of cringeworthy promo for just as long. Bollocks for me. I saw him do that diet McGregor, and it was pretty goddamn awful. And I would argue his great promos are few and far between, but he had that awesome presser interview with Omega in 2023. All the better for a complete lack of composure. Just felt like really, really raw and real. He's his challenge to Shota Umino of your fucking Shota Umino. I have to leave this company.
I really enjoyed that.
It's in the gutter.
Yeah.
It's like, please save it.
Yeah.
It's a bittersweet exit. I don't want it to fail, and you're the one who has to make it not fail. So come on, do it. He's had some great promos in him. US TV's a different animal.
Yeah.
He's nailing it. Like the best thing about this as well is if you've had the Takeshita match, and I would argue it was a bit more than an exhibition. They tried to do a bit more storytelling, but people were there for the fireworks. Same with Fletcher. They tried to do a bit more with the storytelling of it was getting a bit nasty. That competitive element was getting a bit grudge-like towards the end, but it existed for the reason why it existed, and that is this is an exhibition of the greatest, the consensus best wrestler on the planet. Enjoy him. He's here. This was so awesome because, again, he cuts his humble figure, thrilled to be there. That mascot figure, that someone who believes in the brand and what it stands for is necessary. It's Ospreay. And then he takes on that menacing tone, and he's got that kind of thuggish, quite frankly, delivery, and maybe you could argue quality to him. And he used it to great effect here. That tone gets a bit more menacing the more he starts to talk about what the real story of this match is going to be. He's going to, several times over, tease dumping, of all people, Bryan Danielson on his head. Imagine Daniel Bryan taking a Tiger Driver 91 in 2016. You'd just be horrified.
Yeah.
You'd be horrified.
On his last night in his plaid shirt, I'm going to have to say goodbye. And then he's written out by somebody just drilling him with the most brutal move there is.
They're going to make you feel like that in the match, and that they're going to build a match around that. And it's not going to be built around these unbelievable delayed no-sell, the delayed selling sequences. You should pick me up. Kick my ass. These delayed selling, unbelievable power, agility, speed matches that he has. This one's different already. It's taken him, the third one. Of course it was going to be great at some point. The idea now is that that match is going to be built around Danielson with his concussion history taking a Tiger Driver 91. Here it is. The third time of asking, the emotion, the story, the feeling of sheer terror. And that's what you need. Omega, I would argue, has peaked higher than Ospreay as a wrestler. He's so good at selling the blinding headache of getting his head dropped on his head over and over again. You're going to get that feeling in this match with Ospreay and Danielson as he articulated in this, I would describe it as a shockingly exceptional promo.
Yeah, I just think the vibes are all right with Will Ospreay right now, and in AEW specifically. I keep saying this because I don't think things are going to change overnight, but the more they tell you that they're the best wrestling company in the world and then show it with the big matches straight out the gate, the more you'll believe it. In Will Ospreay, they feel like they're addressing a years-long complaint. And I always use Cody and Punk as the example. You had it and you lost it because you just never got to it. There have been hundreds of examples of these matches they just didn't get to, or
Sting and Cody.
Continue to hang
Omega
there.
and Darby Allin.
There are loads, right?
Danielson and Darby Allin.
People get injured, people leave, people retire, and then you just, how did we miss that? They're not letting it happen with Ospreay, and that energy seems to fuel everything. I think it's going to fuel the matches. I think it's going to fuel the promos. I think we had it here. Like, Will Ospreay has the, he's got the confidence without it tripping over and it being cocky to say, well, I'm the dream match guy. And it's a hard thing to do in fiction, because if you say this is a dream match, it almost like pulls the rug out a bit and says,
Yeah, it's not going 7 minutes, is it?
No.
Even though a fight could.
yeah, this is all fake and you want to see but it's like, no, like, I'm the dream match guy. He just doesn't need to say those words.
Yeah.
And me and Danielson is going to be the best match you've ever seen until next month, when me and the next guy is going to be, and he's actually going to prove it.
Yeah.
And I just love that, but I hope that stays. I hope they stay the course right the way to him beating Swerve at Wembley. I hope it's nothing but friggin' hell. And now this, like, because that's the energy, that's the vibe you want to keep up with a Will Ospreay. I don't love that Bruv has apparently replaced to Americans years of us being like T-Sup and Brits. Everyone was William Regal for a generation, Dave Taylor, whatever. Now everybody's...
Now I'm made in Essex.
Yeah, now that's it. We're all Essex, we're all Bruv, we're all thugs. Like that's it now. You get one.
I'm a thug.
I suppose sometimes when we put on our American accent, everybody's a cowboy.
Yes.
But...
So we've got no leg to stand.
We've got no leg to stand at all.
So just stop talking.
Home run, ultimately.
Wicked awesome.
Wicked
awesome.
Wicked awesome, kid.
Makes it look wicked easy.
Deanna Brazzo's backstage. She said
Backstage.
Timeless Tony Storm and Mariah May think this is over between
Timeless
the two of
Tony
them.
Storm.
They're wrong. It's a numbers game you want. I've got no problem finding a partner for next week. Both watch for the shoe because I'm going to shove it up your ass.
Aye.
She's
Capital
beat-
M, capital C must continue.
She's beat her, isn't she? The tag partner ends up getting folded into the Mariah May Tony Storm verse for a bit. That's what you're doing it. Got to do it. I'm not saying it's good, but you got to do it. You got to move people on.
Then it was time for Darby Allin's farewell match for now versus Switchblade Jay White. We wish him well and his trip to Everest, of course.
Sentence.
Yeah,
He's a weird guy.
Don't know how to talk about this. I know I love it, but I don't know how to talk
Be normal,
about it.
Darby.
he's in bits already before the match even starts. He's got tape covering everywhere and like big plasters, obviously from the preposterous spot from Revolution, meaning that Jay White hitting like a headlock takeover makes you go, ooh, well, that looks like it absolutely sucks to take if your back's in that sort of state.
Love that, by the way. Love the psychology of that, because, like, we don't take bumps. Like, every bump must knack. Like, every bump must knack a bit, or other than the callousing and all the rest of it. But, like, it all sucks. But we don't know that. What we do know is, like, a back cut to ribbons with plasters on. Ooh, like, Murray bit his tongue in the office.
Yes.
And I was like, well, you can't eat crisps today. Like, that's
On today of all days.
on National Crisp Day.
Is it?
But it is National Crisp Day. It's every day is National Crisp Day. That's
I know.
me. 365 of them. But yeah, like, that's a pain we can relate to. So plasters on cuts.
Twice on Sundays, so do the math.
It's like Hulk Hogan in the 80s. I go back in time to eat crisps.
So Darby Allin fights back with a shotgun drop kick. There's a big flip dive and a suicide dive to follow that one up. But he comes up limping, and White responds with an underarm suplex through a chair that's there at ringside. And he sets up the steps and basically launches Allin into them to flip over them into the barricade just to take us to a break. Allen's fought back during the break, though, but as he's in the corner, his legs get swept out from under him. He smashes against the turnbuckle. White just starts chopping on the back of the neck. He goes for the Stinger splash, but misses. Darby Allin counters the Blade Runner into an up and over stunner and a sunset flip for 2. He gets a two count as well from the Last Supper. Goes for a coffin splash, but White counters into a German suplex in midair, followed by a Uranage for 2. White goes to suplex Darby Allin from the apron back into the ring, but Darby Allin floats over into a Scorpion death drop for 2.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Jay White just gets his foot on the rope. And Jay White baits Darby Allin in, basically. He rolls to the apron, so he's in position for a really brutal looking coffin drop, but just as Darby Allin comes off, Jay White moves and he just clips the apron in the worst possible way on his way down. He's out on the floor. You'd think he's probably going to get counted out for that sort of bump. He dives in at 9, and Jay White just immediately grabs him, hits the Blade Runner, and gets the 1, 2, 3. Let's talk match, then post-match.
Yeah, because I know we're running low on time, just as much to say about the goddamn post-match. I thought it was a total triumph, to be honest. One thing I'll say, a mild criticism, is that the reason this match existed kind of materialized for the first 4 or 5 minutes, that being they've kind of geeked Jay White. They've lowered him as a concern. So this didn't have the most amount of heat going for it early. And then it did, because it ended up being really quite excellent. Darby's bumping. And it's not just bumping, his selling is just as good, which is incredible somehow. But like the coccyx impact from that thing over the steps is just, he's a wrestler calibrated to make you make like the worst and best noises, Darby Allin. Like, I thought Jay White looked like the stuff here. But again, it's the Darby Allin magic.
Yeah.
The jury was always out on Jay White. Sometimes he looked like the best in the world. Sometimes he looked like an eerie, soulless emulation of the best in the world.
If you're a Jay White fan, you want to be there for the Darby Allin match, don't you? Because it proves your point if you're a Jay White guy, because this is the perfect way to use it. You know?
Both directions of Jay White. This is a fabulous night for him. The match existed for the purpose of reheating him, and my God, did it achieve it. And it's really clever as well how they went for that stunner Blade Runner prolonged sequence, because that was proper in terms of how little it looked choreographed. Peak New Japan, the way to do that sort of sequence. That was great. Like the chops to the back of the neck, like even when he was methodical, Jay White was just really, really interesting and really brutal here. The finish was unbelievable. The way they just did it, the count-out tease. I thought the wrestling here was incredible, but it just lacked that heat early to really push it up to great Dynamite match tier. But that's rarefied air.
His matches will be missed. To go back to the Ospreay point about being able to say all that and then deliver a match as good as this immediately afterwards. Oh yeah, he's telling the truth. This really is the place. Darby Allin, while he's gone, will be missed. And I hope when he returns, I hope he's able to get back in the shape, in wrestling shape, and he's got like if
he has to win the belt.
Yeah. If his
there's a line.
We don't.
You can't climb Mount Everest and not go and win the title. But this is an incidental point, I know.
What if physically he's just not the same person? What if he doesn't have that like ability to bounce around like a pinball because it's changed? Like climbing Everest changes people. Like I'm assuming it does. Like there's it's such an unknown what Darby Allin comes back. But the one right now will be...
Some people have done it like 20 times.
Well, I wish she was doing it 0 times and just wrestling instead. But, wants to do what he wants to do. Got to admire him for that, they tell you.
Let's go to the post-match, because the Guns come out to celebrate.
They tell you.
And Jay White throws down his ROH 6-man title and offers a handshake.
What would you rather do? Climb Everest or give up crisps?
Give up crisps.
Wow.
Move on to sweets.
You've got no sense of adventure, have you?
Zero. I don't see why anybody bothers.
You don't even like films about adventuring because you resent the people going on adventures.
Yeah,
this man doesn't even like the Goonies.
Don't relate. You can stay in.
I've never seen it. So.
Stay in.
They go and like they chase some treasure or something, and there's all sorts of bother along the way, and it's just like get back inside. The telly's there. Like
the Goonies, but it's just 2 hours then watching telly and eating crisps. Oh, this is class.
I've told you before about like how content I'd be sometimes when I was playing GTA to just have my lunch with the character sitting watching telly in GTA. But like, I'm not going to put actual telly on. I'll just have the game. Go back to the flat I've bought, and I'll eat my crisps while he eats his.
I want to get him a VR headset now.
I don't eat VR.
Sitting in it. I mean, virtual crisps. This is great.
I like BR, boring reality. Like.
Anyway, yeah, post-match, Guns are there.
Just like the Fed.
Jay White throws down the title.
If there's a VR where you can eat veg but you think they're crisps, that's going to solve a lot of my problems. Then I'll engage with VR.
Yeah, like that, I saw that person do that, and she's like sniffs a bar of chocolate and then just eats a bit of broccoli.
It's like the Ultimate Warrior crushing cookies in the car. God damn it. Warrior's got biscuits on his dick again.
Told you not to interrupt me when I'm having my private time. He offers Darby Allin a handshake. offers Darby Allin a handshake, but as he reaches for it, turns it into a finger gun. Pew pew. And
Did you realise that then?
Kenny did the laser, to be fair, didn't he? Pew, pew. The laser gun.
That's the sign for the Guns, of course, to attack, and they beat him up, and then they wrap a chair around his ankle. They're going to Pillmanize it with a baseball bat. But the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass come down to make the save, and like, what are you doing, guys? And Jay White's like, come on, get involved. And they go, no, come on. So they help Darby Allin up. They help him out of the ring and up the ramp. And Billy Gunn, he's always had a bit of tension with Jay White, has a bit of a stare down, takes the bat away from him. Like, you don't need that. And Daddy Ass goes to leave. Jay White just clobbers him with a chair shot from behind. Austin and Colton take out Bowens and Caster with belt shots. Jay White hits Daddy Ass with a Blade Runner as well. And then the Guns throw Darby Allin back in the ring, put the chair on the ankle, and Jay White Pillmanizes it with a baseball bat. Good luck on Everest.
Oh my
What
God.
an inspired idea. The reality is that they might not be able to capitalize on this heat. If they do, it would be unconscionable for the reasons. What an unbelievable idea to get heat on a heel this was. I'm sorry. Pillmanizing a guy's ankle before he climbs Mount Everest. What an unconscionable act.
Because we sort of discussed this yesterday, didn't we? And it was like, well, you don't need to do an injury angle to write him off because everyone knows where he's going.
I'll try and stop him.
Yeah. Right now, this is the kind of like pro wrestling heat that a lot of people are quite scared of nowadays. To the point where I didn't even want to sort of like fantasy book it or need to see it until I saw it. It's a very good chance to can't capitalize on this. But, you know, here's the thing. If they can, and Darby Allin comes down from Mount Everest and comes back into AEW.
All in one entrance, that'd be good.
Yeah, shut up, man. Darby Allin versus Jay White 2 could be monumental.
Yeah.
It could be absolutely monumental. This is the angle I was talking about, the trifecta of it's like you're 38. Well, I'm 38. I'm 38. I've watched this for years and years and years. Every time you see a heel do something, it usually just gets in the way of something. Like a finish. And the hit's on the booker. You don't really feel this, that heel. You don't really get that anymore. Jay White, I was like, you arsehole. Yeah. It's like you looked like a wrestler reborn last night in every conceivable way. If Everest goes well, what a return match this could be.
And you know what the return match would be, of course? King of the Mountain.
Shut up, man. One more thing on this. I thought the way that they sequenced this was as good as the idea.
Yeah.
And as good as the idea given to the person who kind of most needed it in Jay White, right? So they're threatened to do it first, and then the Acclaimed are like, you cannot do that. He's about to climb Mount Everest. He kind of needs his ankle to do that. So they frame this as the shocking, kind of do that transgression, and then they do the transgression as well. Perfection. 5-star angle.
I think it really helped that like all of this also involved the splitting up of the Bam Bang Scissor Gang.
Yes,
and
deft and dovetailing as well.
Yeah.
It was deft and dovetailing.
People wanted to see the back of that and got that on top of this angle. So, yeah, just a bunch of wins here, I think. Would I have framed the Acclaimed as babyface after Max Caster's X activity yesterday? No.
No.
Like, we are where we are.
God,
with
what a
that, so-
tosser. What a tosser.
What a weird little guy.
Yeah. Do the chair shot on Daddy Ass. He'll get the most sympathy.
Yeah.
Or Bowens. But speaking of people you want to see the back of, Chris Jericho was teamed with Hook next against the What Culture Gates of Agony.
Best in the business.
Jericho Hook, didn't I? How did I not think a lion hook?
Yeah.
It's
I was
not even
kicking
good, but I
myself.
should have thought of it.
Like the Gates of Agony's colours?
Yeah, well, but it was
crap.
to lion hook. It was rubbish.
This is so crap.
You are asking if I enjoyed the polished turd.
Series of double suplexes from Jericho and Hook starts us off. Gates of Agony take control afterwards. They drape Jericho over the top rope, launch him to the outside. He gets sent crashing into the announce table. Hook gets leveled on the floor to take us to a break. When we come back, Jericho connects on a lion salt, gets a hot tag to Hook. He runs wild, loaded T-bone suplexes. Leona breaks up a German attempt, and he gets low bridge to the outside as a result. Jericho flies in off the top. Hook hits a German suplex on Toa Leona. Bishop Korn takes out Hook with a fireman's carry gutbuster, but Hook comes back with red rum. Leona gets dispatched by Jericho, who also puts the Lion Tamer on Korn, who's in the red room. And I think Jericho breaks off to drop kick Leona so he can't get involved.
Didn't work, did it?
Bishop Korn passed out.
Did not work one bit. The way the camera was trying to shoot around, because like, oh, it's not doing anything anymore. Do the Jericho bit.
Yeah.
But he's let go because he had to for the hook. You know, fuck.
This is actively appalling in terms of the execution. It's a Jericho match in 2024. It's never going to be good, but the layout was so weird. Like, wait, who looked like a bitch? I don't know if, like, my experience of this is maybe a bit flawed because realistically, what happens in picture-in-picture doesn't count. And I'm pedantic, but I'll go with that. But I can never remember, are they in picture-in-picture? Or are they just being really boring? But Hook, I'm sure, got knocked off the apron like 3 times. Right? You study your 90s Old Japan tapes for what happens when, like, Kawada just kicks you off the apron. Come back with a bit of fire. Come back as if you're pissed off at the temerity of you, and then the ref will go, no, you can't do that, and then they can do some double teams. Like, who just looked like a bitch the entire time? And so it was weird, because Hook looked like a bitch, and you had 3 green wrestlers who are nimble and can get about, and then 1 experienced mind who wrestles at 0.75 speed. The pacing and the disjointed quality was just, not good. And because Bishop Khan is a bit green, he's kind of out of position to take that Jericho missile drop kick, glancing blow is how I would describe it. Then Jericho does the apron drop kick and just gets his legs all caught up in the ropes. It's like, go away.
Yeah.
Go away.
Well, if you want to see more of Jericho and Hook, good news. Renee Paquette after this, we'll circle back to cool Kyle O'Reilly in a sec, but I want to keep these bits together because Jericho says Lion Hook's a pretty good name, isn't it? Says Hook's got future world champion potential written on him, but he still needs to know more. He needs to know what it's like standing in a ring from Hook, so they're going to face off next week.
It's like, if he's a baby face and this is earnest, you don't care. If it's all insincere and he's going to turn heel. If he's going to continue, whatever, you don't care. Like, you're just seeing Hook, like, fall further and further down into the swamp.
I said this in the news, just go away until at least Wembley.
Yeah.
Come back, big
We've
performance.
said it a million times.
Yeah, he's not going to.
I don't want to waste my breath on the dude.
But in between all this, you have Kyle O'Reilly chatting to Renee Paquette about the landscape of AEW. He said, look, the past 2 years were some of the darkest days of his life, being unable to pick up his own daughter. It's the most competitive roster in the sport. He's been looking at a guy on the roster who could bring out the best in him, and that is Brian Keith. And they're going to have a match on Collision, which we will, of course, preview tomorrow, Sige. And then you get Kyle! Roderick Strong comes in and says, look, if you want to do things on your own, I respect that. And Strong, Taven, and Bennett welcome him back. And then Kyle O'Reilly goes, yeah, I am on my own.
They're at least now, it's fine, but like the picking up the kid thing, it gives you the realization of just how serious Kyle O'Reilly's injuries were.
Yeah.
So that's good when Roderick Strong backbreakers in, brutally.
Yes.
That's what you should be talking about. Yeah, it's you know, still
It's fine mid-card fare.
yeah.
We also got a video package setting up the main event of the evening. Willow Nightingale versus Riho, of course. And we see Riho warming up backstage when she's approached by none other than Mercedes Moné, who wishes her good luck. I'm going to do this in a weird order because I want to end by talking about the match and the post-match and where we go from here with Moné. So before we get to the match, we have to get to the game. And before we get to the name of the game, we have to get to the aim of the game. Over to you, Michael Sidgwick.
I'm sick of this. Hopefully it's going to change. Jesus Christ. The aim of the game is to identify to the hour, minute, and second the first time you hear the first note of the first entrance theme for the first woman to come out for the only women's match on Dynamite, because for now it seems to settle in that same range. And if it doesn't, it will the same week. And it doesn't really make a difference. There's one match. It's an obligation. They seem to do it because they feel a need like they have to. It's never once felt like a passion project. And we play this game to try and underscore, italicize, put in bold the idea of how apathetic and bloody have to now. Can't get away with anything these days. That is the mentality. And it has been gnawing at this company since day one We're on day, 2000? I don't know, maths. It might all change. But for now, that's the aim of the game. And just, to try and jingleize the thought process within AEW, this is kind of what they mean. Not me, what they mean is, don't worry, guys. When the main event, when the women come out to play, the main event ain't too far away. That's the aim of the game. The name of the game is, this is Ladies' Night, and I'm thinking, what a night.
Is that you listening for the winds of change?
Yeah.
Blowing through AEW?
I don't know what I'm doing, man.
Main event, yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be.
I think it threw you. I think it being last threw the whole thing, didn't it? Being the main event. There's no,
I don't know what I was doing there. It's a favourite football celebration. Maybe that came in.
Yeah.
Go to the away end. Give it one of these. Huh? Huh? Shut your noise, you f***ing out.
Feigning confusion with why they're booing you.
You get that reference, Nicholas? Yeah.
What's the Manuel Pellegrini, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Genteel old footballing winner.
Probably, yeah.
I had what was good.
I thought you was good, man. I would like that.
So normally we have, initials. So,
What?
Normally, tradition is some of the greatest managers of all time will just have their initials on their shirt. So you'll have MH, you'll have MS, I'll have AW. I'll have Pards. Thanks very much on the old tracksuit. Everyone calls me. Anyway, thanks as always to the Panda Blair himself, Adam Blair at Adam Wilton 4, and Jose Palomares at the Ho 11, who always take care of the
data
for this sort of thing. Sid, you have our guesses from the Dynamite preview. Do you want to run us through what our guesses were in descending?
I don't know. Never going to learn.
No.
Never going to learn, never going to be told. Keep on riding down the road.
Oh, what's the messages we got there?
Google verification.
Got it.
A message to myself. A scam.
Scam.
My wife. Sky. PayPal. Best Pizza Jarrow.
Another scam.
GP surgery. Google again. One of the dads from the kids' football group just to arrange a lift.
A text finished.
Well, I f***ing hope so. Otherwise, I've got no mates. In descending order, Adam Wilborn, I don't know you from Adam. No hours, 45 minutes, no seconds. Me. No hours, 51 minutes and 3 seconds. Michael Hamflet, 1 hour and 1 second.
Virtually got it on the nose.
Yeah.
Bang on, pretty much.
Just like 48 minutes off or so.
Wins the win.
It was 1 hour, 49 minutes and 55 seconds, according to Adam Blair, which takes Michael Hamflet onto 3 correct guesses for the year. Tied with me. Michael Sidgwick still to score, but he is...
It's a March.
I think it's going to be an incredible comeback.
Like Bournemouth Luton.
Oh, what a game.
Or the game just dies.
Oh, yeah, hopefully that'd be the preferable.
Never
option.
entered my head.
Main event time then, is Willow Nightingale versus Riho. Nightingale obviously showcases her power early, shoulder tackle, low crossbody, but Riho bridges out of it and hits that running corner knees. Nightingale dodges it, and then she goes for it the third time, hit a shotgun drop kick that sent Riho flying across the ring.
Love this.
This is ruled.
When we come back, Rio's got a bit of momentum. Tiger feint kick, top rope crossbody gets 2. She tries for a Northern Lights. Nightingale counters into a Doctor Bomb, but Riho turns that into a Snap Hurricane Rana for 2. She finally hits the Northern Lights, does Riho. Almost drops Nightingale on her head for a great near fall. Goes up top again, misses the double stomp, and Nightingale hits that awesome pounce of hers out the ring.
God.
I love the dynamic between these two, yeah.
This is always going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Willow tries for a cannonball off the apron, but she misses. Riho hits a double stomp instead. They go to the apron. Riho connects with a dragon suplex
Every time.
on the edge of the ring.
Didn't expect it on the apron.
Another top row double stomp from Riho. Gets her very close to. She misses the charging knee strike. Nightingale rises to her feet. Huge lariat. Riho tries for a jackknife pin, but Nightingale rolls through. Doctor Bomb. 1, 2.
God.
What a finish. That finish was inspired.
Great.
I thought this match was class. Lean, impactful, concise, didn't strain for epic. A really good TV match, like a distinctly TV match. God, I just thought it was class. The dynamic, as you knew, was going to be good. You've got this slippery, evasive, faster Riho versus Willow, who's all power pretty much in comparison. A moving target that you know if she can hit her, she's not good.
Yes.
Pounce was great. And because Riho's amazing at this, after the pounce, you think, oh, hang on, well, she's done for. In your head, if you've got it, the dragon suplex, which always works amazingly well because you never expect it to be able to do it by how much she gets battered and how small she is. Just the thought leaves your head. She's so good at making the thought of the comeback leave your head. And then they do it on the apron after the struggle. And it's just class. The finish and the way they just like that they're a gear together, achieving it with a deadlift is just unbelievable. I really thought this match was great. Not the kind of match that gets called great. It was like kind of a sprint. But for a TV main event, everything I want in a TV match thought it was fantastic. I was wincing, thrilled, never once remotely bored. The dynamic was great. The story was great. I had so much time for this.
Yeah, baby steps. Obviously, we want more women's matches, etc., etc. They got the main event, obviously.
This could just
here.
be the Riho effect.
But I think if I'd have asked you a few weeks ago, if Mercedes isn't wrestling when she debuts, what match they're going to put on, you'd have just said it'll be some, by the numbers squash, nothing to draw any attention from anyone, and they do this. Great.
Yeah, they were wrestling like they'd had the time cut here. I don't know if that's a main event reality or it was just my interpretation of it, but the pace of it, there was just no dead air.
No fat.
Not a single bit of fat at all. So economical. And yet their chemistry lent itself to that anyway. So it didn't feel like, I'm saying all this, and then yet I didn't feel like I was pulled out of it as a result, I think an example of that would be like the All In main event, where it's insane, and
the first All In.
Yeah. Sorry, there's like 5 minutes to go or something. They're going to just have to do this, but you don't mind watching it because how are they doing it? That becomes the question instead. This wasn't that. Like I just didn't betray the fiction of what this match would look like, and yet nonetheless they were just going like full tilt, and it was.
What's your favourite Willow Riho match? I'm gonna have to say the best of Willow and Riho.
yeah, pretty much. Willow Nightingale continues to be like. She's not underrated. Everybody loves Willow Nightingale. But she is perhaps undervalued maybe by Tony Khan a little bit, I think.
Of course she is.
Well, yeah.
She's kept disappearing for months when she was getting really over.
She gets disappeared. I'm starting to think that like as part of a tag team, she's being minimised and she's just not that kind of wrestler. I don't want to downplay Rio's contribution to this, by the way, but certainly we know that that's already in Riho's locker. Willow Nightingale does this pretty much all the time when the spotlight's shining brightest, and it never really materializes. And the fact that like we've got Mercedes Moné feeding right into it bodes well, doesn't it?
I'm just happy for Willow to get a big win as well, because there was that period obviously where she was always just number one contender. No,
it's really hard. It's hard.
She's been the number one contender about 40 times.
It's hard to stigmatize a performer as like engaging and as captivating as Willow Nightingale. And they were sort of on the verge of doing it, and I think this was a total reversal of that. Main event positioning of it really helped. Can't understate that. The fact this went on last, for a crowd that knew they were about to get more of Mercedes Moné, it contributed. It really, really helped. Her impact has been felt on night one, definitely.
Yeah, so post-match...
She's got two of the most organically over wrestlers in the promotion.
Post-match, Nightingale sort of checks on Riho. Commentary references the fact she wants the TBS title and Julia Hart. And as they say that, the lights go out. Julia Hart's on the stage, but Sky Blue runs in and chop blocks Nightingale from behind, and they put the beating on her. And as you said, fans are chanting CEO. They know what's coming. Mercedes Moné comes out in some new ring gear.
Oh, my God.
For you. But Sky Blue charges out and just gets forearmed in the face. And then there's a face-off between Moné and Julia Hart. High kick, Moné maker, lays out the TBS champion. Nightingale rises to her feet and they raise each other's arms, and Nightingale allows Mercedes her moments as the show goes off the air.
There was a little bit of tension coming from Mercedes to Willow, which I liked.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't this forced feeling thing, but it was a look of, yeah, get out. Like, she remembers, and there's that, what we talked about, they can tell a story off the back of that. I don't know if this is a hot take or an unpopular one or whatever, been the moneymaker. I don't like it. I think it's a poor move. I think she's done well to keep it even remotely over after the first time she used it, and it went horribly wrong. Even when it goes...
My first thing that pops into my head when she sets up for it.
Yeah, it does. And even when it goes right, it's extremely contrived in the way that, like, people rip the piss out of the carrying cross setup.
It
is better than
F2.5.
F2.5. I just don't like it. I think it, like, sucks the air out the room for a split second, and the impact... Like, she's got so many more things she can do to, like, if she had hit Meteora, that would have, like, and that's just off the top of my head. She's got loads in her arsenal.
The choice, it doesn't look good in an angle, that move, but what I like about the move, I'm not massively high on it, is that the setup lends itself to a reversal.
Yeah, in matches, that's fair.
You could say it's flawed in that respect, but my favorite move ever is the one-winged angel, purely because it's like the idea is the reason why it takes so long to set up. A, you can do reversals from it. B, is it's worth, like, the juice is worth the squeeze because he just wins every single time with it. So I do like a move, like the Rainmaker's great for that as well. Like, counters are just going to be in forever in wrestling now. It's just the style and the rhythm. So I think she's cleverly done one with a setup like that, but in and of itself as an execution, not great. But then the Rainmaker's not a good move for that either.
No, yeah, this is like, I think you're right. That's a good point. It does fit in matches. It does fit in matches. She doesn't always need to keep going to that backstabber bank statement setup. If you want to even tease a finish, you've got that as well. But that, like, took the wind out of it a little bit, but I love the little, like, almost like a microaggression where she shot Willow Nightingale a look before getting out of the ring. I was really into that. I was like, oh, this is big. This is big time.
Sure,
Their way.
Yeah.
It's the way to get the tag and then the singles match.
Yeah.
Don't know if you need Peppermint for that. It's very Tony Khan, but we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, is that what you think, that where they go next? Tag match with Sky and Julia.
Aye. She's, was it?
Yes.
The graphic was for Rampage. She's going to speak again. I don't know if that's a live crowd one or...
Was it?
Is it
Dynamite
Rampage?
next week.
I thought it was Dynamite next week.
Oh, is it Dynamite? All right. Okay. fair enough.
Rampage.
Yeah, well. Nobody's on Rampage.
Anyway.
But yeah, what title? Do you want? Is she going to go TBS initially?
No.
It's happening in TBS. She's going to go for the TBS.
Because we got asked. I was going to say because we got asked this in the news today about, like, is it going to be
I wouldn't do that.
Tag match followed by a Willow thing with her and with Mercedes and Willow? Is it going to be a tag match in the TBS, or is it going to be a tag match in the world title? I said world title is the way you should go because that's what we've been saying from moment one, that you thought Mercedes was coming in, but she's feuding alongside someone who's fighting for the TBS.
Yeah,
title.
but the CEO doesn't go for. It's the CEO.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't know. I'm just going off what I was shown. She's just basically
been
been involved in an angle with the TBS champion, so it just feels like the move, doesn't it? But
Or are they going to do the sort of Osprey adjacent thing of tag match, maybe even tag match at, like, Dynasty, or tag match followed by not exhibition, but you know what I mean.
I think the fact that just the TBS title's immaterial, it's going straight to Willow and then onto bigger business.
it's like an extension of this show.
Yeah.
If you were going to have Mercedes fight at Dynasty, not in the tag match and not for a title, feels like it would have to be Serena Deeb if I'm carrying on with this Osprey Danielson adjacent. You're not fighting for a title. It's not really a big feud, but it guarantees an awesome match. I can't see any further than Serena Deeb because we already had
There's an
references
emotional
to it.
stake in it. Osprey and Danielson, like I said. Yeah, no, I'll take it all.
Yeah.
On the money train now.
That's good. Wow.
Money plane.
The money plane.
Better than anything up there. That's the thing. Anyway, let us know your thoughts on AEW Dynamite big business in the comment section or on X at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, you can follow all three of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow Michael Sidgwick at
M. Sidgwick.
You can follow me at Adam Wilman. Follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. Follow our brilliant producer at It's Adam Nicholas. And make sure you subscribe to What Culture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. As I said, me and Sidge will be back tomorrow to preview AEW Collision. But for now, this has been the Dynamite review. My thanks to Michael Hamflett, to Sidgwick. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you soon.